Hey everyone, Del21 here. It's been a little sketchy a couple days. That's why a video hasn't been really daily like I was trying to get it. And the reason for that is because I'm trying to get the truck inspected. I'm just now leaving the salvage inspection place. The truck has been, the truck has been inspected, passed with flying colors. I do need to get this back swapped over because I do not want the basic dash in it. He told me it is a good thing I did swap it back because it had to be on there because it didn't read the right mileage. Essentially what's happened is he's got both copies. I have the originals. I have my inspection sheet. So now I have to call the Forest County tax collector, and I have to find out how much it is to register this. And not just register, I also have to get it swapped over to the tag that I have. And essentially, I haven't been asleep either, by the way. I've been completely awake this entire time. I have not been home to go to sleep, so that's where we're heading right now. We're heading to go to sleep. But another thing that happened was he was looking at the truck. He was looking at the pictures. The way they do it here is differently than what they did in Jackson. I do like the guy that did it here. In Jackson, the way he did it was it was backwards. In Jackson, he just went out there and looked at it and everything, and whatever, which made the process even longer. My guy here, what he did was based on whatever your car's salvaged for, he went straight to looking at that. And that was great on my end because this is a flooded truck, and I have on there everything I replaced is electrical and nothing that requires a VIN number. He basically walked out, checked to make sure I didn't change the VIN, made sure the mileage was what I said it was on the odometer, and what else did he do? Walked around the truck, which he said himself there's no need for him to even do that because the truck was a flood truck, so he won't see any physical damage exterior of the truck. You got to remember, down here in Mississippi, when we have flooded vehicles, it's freshwater. So usually when he gets flooded vehicles, he doesn't do a deep inspection on them because it's fresh water, and we usually don't see rust here. But I told him it was the Texas flood, and we didn't know if it was, salt water or fresh water. So what ended up happening was he didn't go deep in depth with it because he couldn't see any signs of any rust, corrosion, or anything short of what's inside the truck on the dash harness. And obviously the other things that did have some corrosion on it was stuff underneath the truck that would have corrosion on it even if it wasn't in a flood. So essentially, the truck passed with flying colors. The trim pieces that I was sweating the entire time, like the one that's in the back corner back there, and the two that were up there, which I did find those. I found the two that were up there, and the ones that were in the door, and there's one in the steering column I don't have either. And those I was dreading but not worried about. The one thing I was worried about is the carpet. The carpet has been cleaned and it has been removed from the truck. The entire truck's bottom pan has been cleaned. This is what got me. He has not fixed that truck. All he's done is added lights to that truck. All right, that's it. But anyway, what ended up happening was he told me that being that the only thing that my truck had was a flooded, he asked me how high the water level got because he saw it on the pictures, but he wasn't you know, when you see a flooded vehicle and you saw the line, he was like, there's nothing I can look at it for you. And to be honest with you, looking at the pictures and seeing the truck outside without even inspecting it, he was basically like, there's no point in him even going out there and look at it. The fact that you drove it here and it was a flooded vehicle doesn't really, you know, help anything out, because it'll be a rebuilt title. So I told him the water level after I disassembled it showed that the water level was up to the windshield. So now he was intrigued. Okay, if it showed it was up to the windshield, and I told him the truck came to me full electrical fault, none running, nothing at all. No running electrically, no running mechanically, absolutely down. So that he was intrigued on, because I drove it there, and we're allowed to drive our vehicles there only to and from the salvage inspection. So now that I've had my salvage inspection, I now have 7 days to, it's no different than when I bought it. So I got 7 days from today to actually get my inspection sticker, my inspection sticker, but to get my tag. So I can legally now drive the truck around until I get the actual tag. So I don't have to sit there and just be worried if I'm going to get pulled over while I'm trying to test out things. So like the handbrake or the parking brake, wasn't concerned about the parking brake, because he says that component is not going to sway whether or not he passes or fails the truck. Essentially, the reason I was going to get a salvage and a rebuilt title was because there's nothing, all he can do is the stuff that I replaced. He could basically just look on there and see if it's been stolen, and that's all he can do. Well, once I told him how deep it was and the condition of the truck when I got it, now he wants to go into it and look at all the receipts on the stuff that, because like I said, nothing on my truck needed a VIN number, which is why he was going to just give me a rebuild title. Well, when I showed him showed him where the water line was and told him where it was, he wanted to go out and not just look at the VIN number, but actually want to check the truck out now. He says that he told me with the stuff that I've replaced on it, the amount of things that I have replaced on the truck, it qualifies now in Mississippi standards. It qualifies, please get across, thank you. It qualifies now for a as a release and clear title. So he says it now can have a clear title instead of rebuilt. He said he can't guarantee that it won't say flooded on it, but it will not have a rebuilt insignia on it, which is what most vehicles get when they get to the salvage inspection. They get a rebuilt, because if it, like, say if you got body damage, you usually get that. But in my case, I replaced enough stuff on the truck for it to qualify. It says that if you replace more than 5 major things, then it qualifies for a clear title. If you replace 1 major thing and 4 or 5 minor things, I can't remember, I got to read the paper. It qualifies for you have to have the VIN number, and you can pass, but you'll get a rebuild. Well, none of my stuff was major and none of it was minor, but I showed enough stuff that needed to be replaced. Well, enough stuff replaced. I think I had on there, I've got like maybe 18 receipts or something like that, maybe 10 to 15 receipts. I actually shortened it down to stuff that actually I replaced and used, instead of just everything that I bought. Oh my god. But I replaced everything that I used in there, and it went down to like 10 or so receipts. And that alone, just those 10 were enough to qualify as a non-rebuilt title truck. So now all we just got to do is call and find out how much it's going to be to register this thing. Here in Mississippi, we do not register on price. We register by year. So this truck is 4 years old, so I'm going to be interested in seeing what it costs, because it's not only that it's 4 years old, but it's a truck. And it'll depend on if I use my custom tag or if I get a B10 class. If I get a B10 class tag, I have to get a whole nother tag. They'll have to issue me a whole nother tag because B10 is a whole nother classification. And I don't know, because this truck here weighs about 1,000 pounds more than my third gen I had. I gotta get that jack off the back of the truck. It's just sliding around. But essentially this truck is, according to weight on the scale, when you put it on the scale, this truck is 5,500 pounds. I think it was. This truck's 5,500 pounds. My other Ram was 4,800 pounds. So I won't say it's 1,000 pounds, and it's not 1,000 pounds, but it's like 600 or 800 pounds. It's still heavier. So I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know where I was going with that. But I'm going to get off. I'm going to upload this. I'm going to call the DMV. No. Who am I calling? Tax collector.